Hello，我是老雷。实在不好意思，我本来不想用英语，但是有些人听不懂中文，所以说 English. The reason why I'm doing this one in English is because the person I want to talk about, how can I say this? The Chinese language is not exactly his forte. I'm obviously talking about my man Nathan Rich, aka Horger Tawang. It's an American dude who moved to China. I don't know when, must have been a few years ago. Didn't really put in the effort of perfecting his Chinese, let's put it that way, but he loves China. At least that's what he says. He loves the hell out of it. And it's kind of understandable. Like if you're a white dude and you're in China for the first time, it can be awesome. The thing is with Nathan Rich, it's a little bit more complicated. I'm going to show you here. This is his YouTube channel. You can see him there with his shirt. And on the shirt, or I guess it's a sweater, it says, "It's okay to love China." And he's selling shirts like this, like with the "It's okay to love China" slogan on it. And to me, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because the slogan, it is kind of emblematic of Nathan Rich. It symbolizes his logic. Because at first when you see it, you're like, okay, it kind of makes sense, but then it doesn't hold up. Something is wrong with it. In the case of the shirts, when you see him in his shirts that he's selling, "It's okay to love China." The first time you see them, you're like, fine, what's there to disagree? You love China, I love China, everybody loves China, fine. I might even get a shirt like that myself, right? Because I like China. But then when you think about it more, you realize something is really off here, because why would you make a shirt like that? Like, who makes a shirt that says, "It's okay to breathe oxygen"? Nobody, because it's not in question. Nobody's questioning it. What you're implying with your shirt is that there's a group of people that is significant enough for you to make a shirt against them, because they're saying it's not okay to love China. It's not okay to love the place, the history, the culture, the people, the food, the language, you know? And then you're like, who are these people? Do they exist? Yeah, kind of. They're really on the fringe. They're like this tiny fringe group. Fine. Do you really make shirts against fringe groups? Or are you building a straw man that you did then attacking? It's kind of like when the alt-right in the States, when they make these signs and it says, "It's okay to be white." It's the same logic, because nobody was arguing that it was not okay to be white. People were saying it's not okay to be racist, especially if you're white. But then you show up with your bullshit little sign and it says, "It's okay to be white." And you're just building this straw man, and everyone's like, just get the fuck out of here. You're just destroying the discourse. Same shit. People were never saying it's not okay to love China. What they were saying is the Chinese political system is pretty screwed up, and the government of China deserves a lot of scrutiny. Now, Nathan Rich doesn't really like this scrutiny. I think it's pretty fair to say that. He, besides from selling shirts, he is pretty big on social media within China, which is odd because he addresses them almost exclusively in English, but okay. He's also pretty big on YouTube, and what he will do is he makes videos in English attacking liberal democracies, their politicians, their systems, their media, anything. At the same time, defending the Chinese political system and the Chinese government. Defending them to a point where really you're like, wow. It doesn't matter what the Chinese government is being accused of. Nathan Rich is going to be there to defend them. Even if you say, and this is a fact, the Chinese government is now operating concentration camps in Xinjiang where they're locking up innocent people, hundreds of thousands. Then Nathan Rich is going to be there, and he's going to defend the hell out of them. He's going to, in Chinese you say 洗地, he's going to clean the floor. So like all the bad things, you know, he's going to clean them off. He's going to chime into this choir of people that first they say, those are fake news, those camps don't exist. Then they say, well, okay, they do exist, but they're actually vocational schools, so, you know, everything is cool. Then they say, well, how else can you confront terrorism? And then in the end they say, well, how dare you? How dare you criticize China? You're racist. That's basically the logic. So what I want to do today is, I forgot something. I forgot the best part. Oh, Nathan Rich's bio. I wish I had a screenshot. He changed his bio much to my detriment. I'm very sad about it. His bio on the social media used to have a line that said, independently wealthy. Like, who puts shit like that in their bio? And then under it, totally unironically, the Patreon link where you can give him money. That was the best shit. And now he changed it to China, politics, philosophy, etc. Okay, but the Patreon link is still there. Anyway, what I want to do is I want to do I call it a close listening. You know, like in literature, there's a close reading where you really look at all the details of the text. I want to do the same thing to one of Nathan Rich's videos. I picked one at random. It's not the most successful one, but it's one that's not heavily edited. It's just him talking. This video that I'm going to do is going to be me just playing the whole of his video. I don't want to cut stuff out and be accused of, I don't know, taking shit out of context. I'm going to add some of my thoughts and my commentary to it. It might turn out into a pretty boring video because, you know, I'm talking about the stuff that this guy's talking, and this guy's already pretty repetitive. But anyway, I'm not aiming for a punchline. I'm not aiming at, I don't know, exposing his background or anything like that. I just want to look at the points that he actually makes and see if the logic holds up or see if he knows his facts. So, okay. The reason that the video that I picked here is called, and this is in quotation marks, I don't hate Chinese people, just the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. The quotation ends here, and then there's one more word, lie. Now, the reason why I'm saying it this way is because it's in all caps. And you know what a social media person means when they put something in all caps. It's like, you know, you should really look at this word, lie. So, we're going to look at this video. It's got like 75,000 views of Nathan Rich, my man, explaining to us how when people say they don't hate Chinese people, just the Chinese Communist Party, how that is a lie. You guys ready? I don't know if I am, but let's go.
One of the things that the far right, and yes, I mean far right.
Okay, so like off the bat, we're talking about the far right. I wonder who that is. I wonder if it's going to be a straw man, but, you know, let's find out. Who is the far right, Nathan?
That they espouse ideas that revolve around forcing other entities to do what they want them to do, or trying to encourage that in some way, which internationally is a right-wing ideology. Okay, that's the opposite of non-intervention.
Whew. Okay, so let me see if I got this right. Far right internationally is when people try to force other entities to do what they want them to do. That's far right. And then the opposite of far right, which logically must be far left, is non-intervention. So basically, Switzerland, famous neutral country, is far left because non-intervention. And then also Turkmenistan is far left, according to this logic. Far right, I don't know. I guess Russia, gobbling up stuff everywhere in Ukraine and here in Georgia, far right. Would it be fair to say that the Chinese government trying to force another entity, Taiwan, which is perfectly fine by itself, to do something that they want them to do, namely submit to them and become a part of China, is far right? I don't know. Okay.
In my terms, I'm aware there's many different ways to represent this.
There's many different ways to represent the far right and the far left. Okay.
I'm talking because it's my channel.
Nah.
So,
okay.
A lot of times when you drill down on these people and say, you know, maybe you're emotional and you say, why do you hate Chinese people? Why do you hate China?
So this whole video hinges on Nathan Rich being in an argument with people whom he identifies as far right, and him becoming emotional and saying, why do you hate China? Why do you hate Chinese people? Okay, so what do they say?
They'll fall back on, no, it's not the Chinese people. You know, they're cool, they're great. They're all just brainwashed, they're victims. They're all, you know, they're just some version of not as good as that person talking. You always notice that, right? It's never that like, oh, they're exactly the same as me. However, something. It's always, oh, they're misinformed. They're brainwashed. They're dumb. They're this. They're that.
Well, wait a second. Aren't those people basically saying Chinese people are exactly the same as them? However, they're misinformed or even brainwashed? Isn't that what they're saying? Like, okay, fine.
It's not them that they hate. No. It's just the government.
One thing that is odd is that you would even waste time talking about people saying they hate the government or they hate anybody. I mean, we use this word, but it's not part of the serious discourse. You're not going to find this in, I don't know, in serious media publications in liberal democracies. You're not going to find serious politicians using this word to describe, I don't know, the Chinese government or whatever government. They're not going to say, I hate them. I say I hate them when I'm talking about Bono of U2. And even that is kind of hyperbole, I guess, or maybe it isn't, but you know, you get the point. It's like, this is not part of the serious discourse to say I hate them. Like, why would you even argue with that? But okay, fine. So these people, they don't like the Chinese government. Okay. And then what?
And usually when you say, oh, okay, who's the government?
Why would you say that? Everybody knows who the Chinese government is. It's my boy, Xi Jinping, and his dudes. That's the Chinese government. I don't get the question. Somebody says, I hate the Chinese government. And then Nathan Rich, in his genius brain, is going to go like, who is the government? Try that in a Chinese bar. Try that. I dare you. I dare you. People are going to be like, dude, what the fuck? Okay. So you say that usually. And then what happens?
Then they say, you know, the CCP. And you go, well, that's not the government.
I gotcha.
And I hope a lot of people in the chat have realized what I just said, right?
Yeah, I have.
If you say the government, that's not the same word as the CCP or the CPC. Because the government means the people who work in the government. Whereas the CCP or CPC are just people, whether or not they work in the government. A lot of these people don't work in the government. They're just a regular person who's also a member of the party. And that's because, and I know this is a big shock to a lot of people out there, a party is not the same thing as a government.
Okay, there is a lot to unpack here. So forgive me if I'm going to put our man Nathan on pause for a second. Where do I start? First of all, what he's saying is not actually totally wrong. Like, the core is even factually correct. It doesn't make any sense to bring it up, but it's factually correct. The Chinese government is not identical with the Chinese Communist Party. When you want to think about them, you have to imagine a Venn diagram with a very, very big circle. That's the Chinese Communist Party. And then a small circle in the middle of it. And that's the Chinese government. It's like the cherry on top of a cake. The cake is a party, the cherry is the government. Not every party member gets to be in a government. Just like every piece of cake doesn't get to be the cherry. Many people, they don't get any sort of meaningful or powerful position at all, but they're still kind of in the party. Now, does that mean you can separate the Chinese government from the Communist Party of China? Like, they're two different things. It's not that easy, really. I'm going to give you a few examples. Maybe give Nathan Rich an example. The Chinese flag, when you look at it, we all know it's bright red background and it has 5 little stars on it. Now, the 4 little stars, there's 4 little stars and 1 bigger star. The 4 little stars, they represent the people. It's the workers, the peasantry, the city bourgeoisie, the national bourgeoisie, these people. That's the people of China. You know what the big star is? The Chinese Communist Party of China. The Communist Party is the big star on the national flag. I mean, you're going to separate these two, the government and the party? I don't know. Have you ever listened to the Chinese national anthem? Kind of also connected to the Chinese Communist Party. What else is there? Let's see. The PLA, the military of China, the People's Liberation Army, is famously a military that is at once national and of the party. Like all the organs that govern it, all the commissions, they have these double functions. They're party organs and also national organs. You can't separate them. It's also a party army and also a national army. It sounds confusing, but that's how the party is intertwined with the state. You cannot separate them ever, at least not, in this state. So how do you go about, I don't know, saying like, some people are just in the party, some people are in the government? Factually correct, but what does that mean, really? Also, I'm not quite sure if Nathan Rich understands how power in China works. Like if you look at, for example, my boy Xi Jinping, you might think his power stems from the fact that he's president of China. That's what they call him abroad. It's already pretty suspicious that no Chinese person ever in Chinese is going to refer to him as Xi Zongtong, President Xi. That term is never uttered. It's not a thing. They call him Xi Zhuxi. They call him Dong Shuji. Because really what's important about Xi Jinping, where his power stems from, is that he is the general secretary of the Communist Party of China. And also, even more importantly, he is the head of the military commission, the national and the party military commission at once. That's how you have the power. I don't know if Nathan Rich thinks, if you go to a village, like the grassroots level in China, and they introduce you to the head of the village, if he thinks this nominal head of the village is actually the person that has the power in that village. Like if you try telling that to Chinese friends, they're going to laugh at you. Or they're going to educate you if they're nice. But really, that's not how it works in China. In China, the person that has the power in that village is going to be the party secretary, the local party secretary. He might also be the head of the village in one person. But it's not going to be that head of the village as opposed to the party secretary. That's just not how it works. Like, come on, Nathan. I don't know. Like, you can kind of not learn Chinese, but you can at least kind of talk to your Chinese friends sometimes. See how stuff works in China? No?
As when you say the government in the United States, you don't mean all the Democrats or all the Republicans.
Okay, but the Democrats or the Republicans in the United States, they don't exactly have their symbols in the national flag, do they? They don't have their words in the national anthem. They don't own the military. They don't run the military. Like all of this is just, you're comparing totally different things. You can like the Chinese Leninist party state, where the state and the party are intertwined and almost one. You can think that's better, but you can't pretend it doesn't exist. It's not a liberal democracy where things are kind of neatly or like however neatly separate from each other. It's just not it's a Leninist party state, dude. Okay, just like in the States. It's like white dude goes to China and tells people like, yeah, just like in the States. Yeah, I wonder what his Chinese friends are thinking, really.
So why is this important? Well, first of all, it already shows that they don't even know what they're talking about in the first place.
No.
And the other thing is that it shows that even they don't understand how many people that they're saying that they hate, which is quite interesting. I think when Americans in particular...
Yeah, I know what he's getting at. So there is a point where the Chinese Communist Party, they have 90 million members, even a little bit more than that. When you say you hate the Chinese government, and then Nathan Rich is like, who is the government? And you say, well, the CCP, because, the cake and the cherry. Then do you really mean all party members? Probably not. Many people in China, they join the Communist Party because they actually believe in something. It sounds odd, but many of them, I'm not saying the majority, but many of them, they join because maybe they think China is still kind of on the way to some weird form of Chinese socialism or whatever. But even more people, they join the Communist Party simply because it gives them an advantage in life. That's all. It makes things easier. And if you look at like who joins the Communist Party, it's gonna be students in university who have no political ambitions or interests whatsoever, who want to go abroad and just live their lives or whatever, or even stay in the country and live their lives. But at some point, they get the chance to join the party. They join the party and fine. Are they the government? No. Is anybody accusing them of being, I don't know, involved in the government? No. Chinese billionaires, it would be really interesting to find out the percentage of party members among Chinese billionaires. Because like even people like Ma Yun, Jack Ma, who recently kind of embarrassingly disappeared for 4 months and then reappeared in some video clip on the internet. Even that guy is an alleged party member. Now, is that guy a communist? No. Does anybody think he's the government? No. Is he involved with the government? Kind of indirectly with his money, sure. But like he's not part of that system, is he? He's a person that joined the party because it makes life easier if you are in the party and makes life kind of shitty if you're not. That's China for you. So, okay. We're now going to talk about who is in the party here. Let's go.
Just stick with that because it's easier for me to think about that. I think when they say the government, I think that they're talking about all Chinese Communist Party members. And they think that that number is about 100,000 to 1 million people. I'm just guessing.
I don't know. 100,000 to 1 million people. I mean, China is very famous for having small numbers of stuff, huh? Nathan? Okay.
This is not based on any research, right? This is not a fact. This is just my assumption. I think that that's probably what they're thinking about. But let's take a look at how many people that they actually hate. So, when people say, oh, the Communist Party has done this thing that I don't like, or I hate them because of this or whatever, in their minds, oftentimes they're thinking that's the government. In fact, I would say probably 99% of the time. So, the Communist Party today, according to public statistics, has about 92 million people.
Yeah. So many people that are kind of in that party because they don't really give a fuck, but they want to have an advantage in life. So, okay, fine. Are people really talking about them?
Sorry, too much coffee. And that's already huge. But the other thing is that's only just the literal Communist Party. When you see Western reports about, the commies or the communists or the CCP or whatever, they will also say the exact same things about, for example, the Communist Youth League.
Who? Western media are going to say the same things that they say about the government and the CCP? They're going to say that about the Communist Youth League? It's kind of, they're a bunch of adolescents. They're teenagers, 18 to 24 or something, 28, that are in the Communist Youth League. Nobody takes them seriously. They have, their leadership does play a role in this weird, very complicated thing that's called the Communist Party. But the actual members, nobody really cares about them. They're not part of the government. They're not part of the discourse. They're the Communist Youth League. They're young people.
Same thing to them. If a youth league member does something or they pass some bill or whatever.
They pass a bill? A youth league member passes a bill?
Dude, whatever they're up to, if a report comes out about them, people will think, oh, this communist. Those are the people we're talking about.
Okay.
And that's about somewhere around 90 to 95 million more people.
Okay, that's what we're talking about, huh?
Underneath that, you have something called the Young Pioneers.
Oh, God. Those are literally children. 红领巾. Okay. These little kids in grade school, nobody asked them, but you put a little red scarf on them and they become young pioneers. Okay. Nobody's talking about them. Nobody takes them seriously or anything. Not in China, not anywhere.
Younger people, very young.
Oh, yeah.
And that's about 150 million people.
Okay.
Now, again, all of these people are the types of people that you're going to see misrepresented as the CCP and confused with the government.
I would like to see the media report where anybody confuses the young pioneers, these little children, that are like 8, 9 years old with the Chinese government. I would really like to see that. Like, it sounds nice when you say it, but I mean, listen to yourself. It's just ridiculous. Nobody thinks the little kids with the red scarves are the government. Nobody. Not the youth league. Nobody.
So when these people say, "Oh, I don't hate China. I just hate the government," and you say, "Well, why are you talking about the CCP?" And they go, "Oh, I mean, I also hate the CCP. I mean, all of it." And you go, "Oh, okay, cool. That's about 340 million people you're talking about."
Again, Venn diagram. Big circle, a little circle in the middle. The Communist Youth League is another big circle that is kind of next to that original big circle. And then the Young Pioneers, they're another circle that is totally next to that original big circle. Like, I don't know, man. This is all such a mess. And also, it's kind of like when people criticize China, and I do that a lot, when you want to be taken seriously, yeah, maybe sometimes you get emotional and you say stuff like, yeah, I hate the government or whatever. Fine. But most people in the media or in politics, we try to be nuanced. Even myself, even like this meaningless kind of social media person that I am, I talk about the good things that the Communist Party has been doing in the last 40 years when they kind of got their act together after the atrocities under Mao, the economical development, all this kind of stuff. But then you also mention that it hasn't been going too well lately. The Chinese government used to be the political system, it used to be a Leninist party state, a party dictatorship. It used to be a dictatorship of a party, of this large circle in the Venn diagram. And that has changed. Originally, after Mao, the de facto leader, Deng Xiaoping, he saw that when a guy stays on and clings to power forever until he dies, it kind of makes stuff really difficult because that guy might just get power drunk or he might turn into a vegetable, both of which happened to Mao, and it's going to lead the country to disaster. So what Deng did was he said, let's have term limits. Not for the meaningful positions of party leader or like head of the military commission, not that, but for the head of the government, like the president. Let's have a term limit there. So it's going to be 10 years for each guy, kind of each generation. And then you give up this nominal position of being president. And then a short time later, maybe a year, 2, 3, it depends really. You're going to also relinquish the other posts, like the party leadership and the military commission. You're going to relinquish them. And then the power is going to be transferred to the next generation. And that worked for Jiang Zemin, and it worked for Hu Jintao, and it worked for the transmission of power from Hu Jintao to my boy, Xi Jinping. But then Xi Jinping came and he started going back to the Mao ways and started this huge cult of personality about how genius he is and everybody needs to have his poster everywhere and he has the China dream. And he's read so many books and all of that. And also he went and he said, well, these term limits, I don't want them. I want to have the option of staying in power forever, of having even this nominal power of being president. And then you know what happened? The nominally highest body in the government, the National People's Conference, they had a vote on if this Xi Jinping guy, my boy, if he could be have the possibility of being president for life. And they ratified it in a vote. And I don't have the specific numbers, but it was like 2,900 something votes yes, 3 votes no, and you really wonder what happened there, and 2 abstinent votes where people were like, I'm not going to vote on this. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm out of here. What do you call that? Do you call that anything but rubber stamp? And what does all this mean? And when people criticize this kind of system where this stuff happens, where a party dictatorship turned back into a one-man dictatorship, and then they criticize that guy, then you label them as far right and like they hate Chinese people? Seriously? I don't know. I don't have much respect for Xi Jinping. I think Xi Jinping is a small man, uneducated, and not very talented. He's very good at these party power games. He incidentally also looks like Winnie the Pooh. And people have been making fun of him for looking like Winnie the Pooh. He can't deal with it. Like, come on. What's so bad about looking like Winnie the Pooh? I kind of look like Karl Marx, right? My boy, Nathan Rich, kind of looks like a penis. What's so bad about looking like Winnie the Pooh? But okay, here we are. When you say you don't like the Chinese government for all this stuff, then that means you don't like the CCP. Then that means you don't like the little children with the red scars. And that means you don't like Chinese people. That's basically the Nathan Rich stick. Come on.
That's basically the population of the United States.
That you hate.
Oh, you only hate 340 million people here? You only hate 1 out of every 5 people on the street? You get what I'm saying? And this is why I made a video a long time ago. I think it was the one in which I was showing that Serpentier was a very basic English teacher.
What does it matter if somebody's an English teacher? Okay.
And I said something like, I've got friends that are in the government. And everybody was like, oh, gotcha, government pawn. Sorry about that noise. That's my automatic cat feeder. And the thing about this interesting comeback from them is, if you've been to China, you have met many people in the CPC or the CCP. If you've ever been...
Wait a second. I remember us spending a lot of time at the beginning of the video kind of proving that the government and the CCP are separate, right? Like that was the main point. And now he's saying he has friends in the government, but that's normal because if you've been to China, you will meet many people in the CCP. I mean, fine, dude.
China and gone anywhere and done anything. If you've gone to a restaurant, you've met some. They're everywhere. And that's because the people and the Communist Party are very closely aligned.
Aww.
Okay? So when you say you only hate one of them, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about that lady over there with her kid? Because
No.
that's one of them. And no one even mentions this.
No one mentions it because it's bullshit. It's like, it's okay to be white. Dude, it's okay to love China. Come on.
Watch these far right people. It's like a given. They go, it's just the government or just the communists. I'm like, you're talking about hundreds of millions of people. So, here we go. You're just telling BS.
Okay.
Gustav Gans, you're just telling BS. Well, you tell me, Gustav, what's the truth?
Well, part of the truth is you don't know how the Chinese system works, do you? Maybe he was trying to tell you that. Okay. Oh! So Nathan Rich, I'm sorry, but Nathan Rich has a Chinese tattoo on his arm. I gotta show you guys. More than one, I think. That's just awesome. White dude in China with a Chinese tattoo and it says 天下太平. Dude, why not just make a 太平天国? You got 3 characters out of 4. 太平天国, I kind of like it. White guy with Chinese tattoos in China. Awesome.
Thank you for your masterpiece, although I believe this is only a piece of the iceberg. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, this is only the piece of the iceberg of how much Nathan Rich doesn't know about the system in China. Dude.
And that's why I really wish I did have a team, because how am I supposed to do all this stuff by myself?
Well, you could start by reading a Wikipedia. I mean, it's just a start. or talking to Chinese people. Just ask them, how does it work? Oh, man.
CCP are the people, come from the people, among the people. They are the people. Anti-CCP is anti-China, anti-Chinese just the same.
Oh, that's a strong statement. Anti-CCP is anti-China. Okay. Wonder what Nathan Rich thinks about that.
I pretty much agree with that.
Oh.
I'd say I 90% agree with that.
Ooh.
At least in the way that people talk about it now. Mostly because, like I just said, they have no idea what they're even talking about. They just say, oh, I hate these people. Oh, you know, just that small group. I'm like, you mean like the entire population of the United States? You hate all those people? You're a horrible person. But to be honest with you, I think most of the far-right people on that map, especially the sort of English teachers and the...
What is it with English teachers? Like, shouldn't you hate Chinese teachers more than English teachers? I mean, given the fact that you don't really perfect your Chinese, but okay.
People who just live in this little echo chamber, I don't even think that they know that. Or if they do, they're just, you know, they're being intentionally vague about their hatred.
Okay, whatever. I'm getting tired of this. Mainly, the point here is, if you say that you hate the Chinese government, then Nathan Rich is going to say, who is the Chinese government, pretending to not know that the Chinese government is my boy, Xi Jinping and his dudes. And then you're going to say, well, you know, it's a CCP, Venn diagram, big circle, small circle, to which he's going to say, that means you hate everybody in the CCP, including Jack Ma, including this nice lady around the corner who just joined it because she wanted her life to be more easy. You also hate the youth league, these youngsters, and you also hate the little kids with the red scarves. That's what he's going to say. And that means you're a huge racist who hates all Chinese people. You're far right. There we go. That was the video. I don't know what you guys think about it. I think I'm going to end this with a personal insult. I still look like Karl Marx. And Xi Jinping, he still looks like Winnie the Pooh. And my man, Nathan Rich, still looks like a penis. Peace.